Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the screenwriting step-by-step project, chapter 69. My name is Glenn Gers, and I am here with you and the neighbors' gardeners. I think you can hear them. Every weekday, if I can make it, from 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am here working through a pilot script for an hour-long TV drama that I am making up from rough idea to finished script, going through the outline, the rough draft, all those steps that somebody takes to write a script. It is not the only way. It is not the best way. It is not the way. It's just the way I'm doing it. It's the way I have done it. I've been a professional screenwriter for 25 years, and I have learned a few things about how to get through the process. I'm not telling you what to write. I'm not telling you how you should write it. I'm just saying this is a process that, for me, helps you get words on the page that you can organize your way. And that's really what I'm trying to do here. Hello. We have Double Knot, and this is Kitschy. And I also wanted to let you know, I put up a little notice before, but just in case you didn't see it, I'll tell you later. Okay, hello 99 Precinct. I'm going to get right into it because we have here a lot to do and a little time to do it because I am going to be away much of the next 2 weeks. So let me get right into it. Please feel free to ask anything if you have anything to ask. Oh, by the way, if you are watching this recorded and you would prefer to ask me a question through another means than the chat, you can go to contact me at writingforscreens.com. That is my website where I offer a bunch of stuff. And you can find the outlines and the drafts of this script under the Creative tab. But under Contact Me, you can contact me. You can ask me a question. You can leave me a comment. It will open up a little panel that will send me an email directly. If for some reason you do not feel like sending me an email directly through my website, you can leave comments and questions here on the YouTube channel. On this video or any video, it all gets to me, and I will do my best to answer your questions. Hello, Larry, TFVWXXXX, lots of X's. Hi, Larry. Welcome. Okay, let's get back to the deal here, which is the outline for this scene. All right, so here's the deal. I thought about this a little bit. We have now figured out this scene actually has a lot of moves in it, a lot of steps in it. Which is interesting considering it's mostly a woman sitting by herself in a house. But the thing I got to was at a certain point, I have this question. How does she accidentally find a hidden stash of drugs? And I thought, what if this kid offers it? Because now we have a use for this kid. I was a little troubled by the fact that I thought this kid was a great idea, this delivery guy. It was a chance to discuss some things, but now he actually can make a turning point. So I came up with a bit of dialogue that I think will be fun. So I'm going to do this. And the thing I want you to notice here is how hello, Roddy. Oh, and by the way, thank you very much. This is Kitschy, has mentioned that my schedule, I'm going to the Cinestory Foundation Mentoring Retreat this weekend, and the next weekend, the Austin Screenwriters Conference. I will not be in Austin personally. I will just be doing 2 Zoom room roundtables. And I wish I lived in Austin too. It's a phenomenal place, and I hope to go there in the year after this. This year I just could not manage to go there. Anyway, let's get back to this because I think this is interesting. The thing I hope you can notice about what we've done is we have taken what was, almost a page of notes. My theory on outlining is you write every note you can think of into the outline. Make it a place you do your work in, that you put down everything you're thinking of, that you ask yourself questions and answer stuff. But then eventually what you're trying to do is strip it down to something really simple, basically a checklist of actions that you can write. And that is what I think we have finally gotten to here. So that's what these little gray lines are, the notes condensed down into the steps that we need to accomplish. This green stuff is just stuff, I put it that way in that kind of type so I could remember to tell you about it. Ordinarily, I wouldn't have that because I don't need it. I'm talking to myself, I'm all by myself. But now, since you are looking over my shoulder, I wanted to show you that I jotted down, I thought of this a couple of lines. And I thought, okay, I want to put them in. I ordinarily would have just, frankly, put them into the text. But I wanted to show you the process, so I put them here as notes, and now we're going to do that. All right, so let's do that. Let's just do it. Let's get into it. All right, I have not looked at this script in a few days, so what I'm going to do now is just read through the scenes. Let's see what we got here. All right. Okay, so she's looking around. You know what? This might happen, or it might not. It could be just that we do a cut, and she's on the phone. All right. So true. Yeah, this is fair. You know what? I'm just gonna to help you from stressing out, but I know what you mean. Yes, part 1, part 2, part 3. Let's fix that. There we go. How's that? This is better. Yes, Larry has pointed out something which is very true of me. When I am working in the outline, I am really I'm working my own way, and I am really just talking to myself. And so I make almost no effort to capitalize properly, to spell properly, to complete sentences, or to punctuate properly. That is true. I do that, and I'm guilty of that, and I know that now that you're watching, I should probably be better about it. But really what I'm trying to teach you is this is your workspace. It's your messy, private thoughts, and you should let them be that. Eventually you want to clean them up enough that you can look at them and keep your brain organized, but that's also the place where you're going to keep your brain messy and creative. Both things are happening there in the outline document. That's what I like about the outline, the idea that you could just use it as a safe space to play, to make a mess. So I think I'm just going to Okay, so what I'm doing here is just, when I reread it, I thought I don't want to bother to take the time to show her getting the phone call. Well, this is true. It's a thing that people are like, you got to do this, and it's true. You don't always have to do it, but in general, if you can cut off the beginnings and ends of scenes, if you can cut off the part where they're answering the phone or walking in the room and saying, "Hey, how have you been?" that's probably a good idea. See, now I'm going to do this. All right, so Can't let my light. Okay. Hello, Ellen. All right. What I am doing right now, Ellen, is I am reading through the scene that we are still working on because I've gotten so many hunks of it down over different days that honestly, I've forgotten what I wrote. So I'm reading through it, cleaning it up a little. And see, I repeated stuff there, so I don't need all this. Okay, this is good. This is good. I am getting. Okay. Hey, Maria. You're welcome. I am so glad that you are here. I'm so glad that we got a good crowd here. What we are doing is having finally this scene that had so many pieces to it, so many parts. I finally got a very short version in the outline here, in which I just have a couple of steps. And so now I'm making sure that the script refers to is represented by this. Right now, what I'm seeing is I've got a whole bunch of brainstormed bits of dialogue. And so what I'm doing is just sort of tightening that up a little. I will eventually have to really deal with it because all right, so I'm just cleaning up. Hello, Wayward Soul. Very, very glad to have you here. Everybody here. This is what we're doing. I am just right now just cleaning up the pile of rough brainstormed stuff I got so that at least the scene has some beginnings of shape. So you're also a look at the keyboard to type. Yes, I do not know how to touch type. I taught myself how to type when I was around 10 or 11 years old, so I just did it like that, and now I'm pretty fast. I'm not super fast, but I can get things done. But it does mean that that the one thing it means is that I make a lot of typos. Although I did make my living as a administrative assistant, secretary type temp for over 10 years. So I type well enough. Let's put it that way. Okay, so I don't know what the awkward question is yet. Okay, clarify what you put in italics versus bold, etc. Yes. Okay, in general, I try not to bold. Bold is almost always just the name of a new character, or if there is something on the screen. For instance, if this was, she finds an old program for a rock concert. screaming hysteria band. So if it's something that you are reading, I tend to do that. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about this? This is bold because it is a note to myself. I just wrote a note to myself. I wanted to say I need an awkward question here, but I don't have it right now. So I put it in bold and italics because that way I'll notice it. When I'm reading through, I'm not going to think anything except, wait, what's that? That's a thing that doesn't exist yet. So what I'm doing here is just moving things around a little. So in general, italics are for emphasis, or of course a title. For instance, I can't let this thing take over my whole life. That is one way to do urgency. Also, you could do underlining. Also, you can do all caps, this thing. All of those are acceptable. I frankly use all of them. I use them at different times. It's more or less a feeling. It is a feeling that I try and get of what I want to read. I find that different things seem to distract. My main goal is to get you to hear and see things and not be thinking about the typing. I don't capitalize all names because I feel it's a I don't think it's wrong. I just find it distracting. Once again, my main goal when I'm working on a script is to have it be an experience where you're getting drawn into the reality of the moment. And so things that are done for actors or for technical reasons, for production reasons, I try not to do those in a first draft of a script, in a reading draft of a script, because my goal is to have you be paying attention to what Madeline is doing. And if we capitalize Madeline every time she shows up, I find it distracting because it's like shouting, Madeline. So I don't like to do that. I do sometimes emphasize a word or a phrase, and this is entirely mercurial. It is impulsive, and it is what I do just in order to emphasize or to make that more important, more dynamic. So I would really just say the main goal of anything I do with typing is to try and keep it clear and uncluttered and personally, emotionally emphatic. That's what's happening. I also very, very often will go back and take out. So, one day something will be in capitals, the next day it won't. There's no good reason for any of that. Some scripts, I just say no capitals, none. I won't do it. I want it to be a more of a reading experience. So yes, italics are usually to indicate an emphasis, a dramatic push on those words, especially in dialogue. But there are actually no formal rules for screenplay style because there is no such thing as the Chicago Manual or the MLA Manual, which govern how manuscripts are written. This is not a manuscript; it's a script, and that's it. You do it as you feel. I do it to try and make the read involving. Yes, this is just a first draft. Everything that a screenwriter writes is a reading draft until somebody pays and puts it into production. When somebody puts it into production, all these rules change because their production rules will matter. They'll say, do this, do that, put in a stage direction about a camera, whatever. That's different. a screenwriter's work is up until production, then they become a part of the production, and it's sort of a different job. Okay, so my main thing is I'm trying to get, okay, so right now what we know is that there's a nice long call with people at work, and that will probably be broken up into a couple of different scenes, and I will really think about what that is later. Right now, you know what? I don't need that. Okay, so all right. All right, so now they're talking about okay. Okay, that's in the scene where I was asking about if it would feature an intercut. What are we talking about? Let me know. Okay, so now it's time to get to okay, I always have fun when I write. This is the thing. So he says, what about drugs? When we were together. Yes. Drugs. Lots of drugs. Maybe too many drugs, maybe not. Inspirational, awesome, kind of mistake to have in the house. Okay. I'm not going to worry about that because sandwiches are not the only Yeah, about weeds legality, it definitely doesn't matter because Kyle is definitely doing something illicit when he offers it. So I'm going to just say, are not the only thing I deliver. So that's just. Typos. Sell some stuff that's not on the menu. Let me see now. So. Pity. I'm glad it wasn't just out of pity. Okay, good. Glad it just wasn't out of pity. It makes you think there's an edge. An edge. Okay, so now I got that bit of dialogue. I really like that idea of the dialogue of take the edge off, and she's like, well, what makes you think there's edge? And then she doesn't answer, and that in itself, he doesn't answer. That in itself is the answer, and that just brings us right to the cut. Interior. George's house. Okay. All right, so apparently there's been a big debate going on here, so I'm going to just check what's being said in the comments, the chat. Okay, currently writers are having trouble with voiceovers, seeing how to show to the right. VO, yeah. Okay, let me quickly run through this, of how you do voiceover. If you are doing voiceover, let's just look at this. Suppose you have Madeline wanders the house. George. VO. When I died, I knew it would be a way to get her back. I just don't know how to tell her. Okay, this is the voice of the dead speaking, so it's a voiceover. In other words, we are watching a scene and there is a voiceover as a narration. Now, if the way you use OS is if we have Madeline wanders the house. Kyle in the kitchen wanders the living room. Kyle yells in from the kitchen. Kyle OS want me to put ladies in baggies. Okay, so the point about this is OS means they are in the scene, but off screen. That is different from voiceover, in which they are not in the scene. They are in some way out of it. They are a narrator or a ghost or whatever. That is the difference between OS and VO. Sorry. VO. VO means voice over. In other words, they are not in the scene. OS means off screen, which means they are in the scene. We just can't see them. It is important. Yes. All right. Oh, so let's now take all of this out because it was just a demonstration. And also, oh yeah. All right, so yeah, I don't think so. I think he's sized her up, and he sized her up properly. Double Knot was saying that Kyle is taking a risk because Madeline might go Karen on him and call his manager, except that we've had this whole scene where they've been talking and she has not thrown him out. She has had a certain sense of humor. She has shown her vulnerability. She's accepted him in certain ways. There's a lot going on in a scene which tells you the relationship of the characters, and that is the most important thing going on in a scene. Okay. I should have to explain scenes. There'll be a lot to explain. All right. Yes, exactly. What's funny is that she's nowhere near Karen. Yeah. Okay. I hate Prelap. Just personally, just wanted to point out, Prelap is when you have a voiceover. Okay, let's do this. In a cut. Let me show you. Here you go, John. And I know John, you were not necessarily, the stylish is in fact true. Let's do this. Let me just find, okay. So, suppose we're going to have Madeline is making a speech. Yes, you crazy people, I know what you're all thinking. Okay, but you wanted to have her start, Madeline. Oh, okay. Hey, listen up, all you people there. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Okay, so in other words, Madeline's speech is starting in the scene before as a voiceover. And some people will do that as we hear Madeline in Prelap. Okay, I cannot think of a good reason to ever do that, because what you're doing is, once again, calling attention to production. Prelap is actually an editing term. It means that you're taking a bit of sound and cutting the sound in earlier before you do the visual cut. That is what prelap means. And by saying that, you are saying, hey, forget about this moment and let's discuss the fact that it's a movie. Let's show how cool we are that we have technical terms. Whereas you can just do this and we'll understand it. You hear that it's her voice and then you see her making the speech. That is better than saying prelap, just like it's better than saying slow boom up to an overhead shot. You just, every time you do that, you take us out of the moment. I cannot emphasize enough that you're trying to get people, when they read your script, to be in the reality of the scene. They are all absorbed in what people are feeling and what they are doing. And everything that you do that tells us how we are portraying it, to me, sucks. It just hurts the value, the magic of writing a script. Writing a script is a very weird thing in which you are trying to create a trance-like state of involvement in the reality of the thing on the page. You do not want to be constantly calling attention to the scriptiness of it. Okay, so exactly. I got the E on the other side too. There, that's cool. I knew, John. You're cool. We're cool. All right, so okay, so let's get this. So now we have Madeline is stoned. She's got music turned up loud and is singing along. But it's so loud we can't hear her. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is all right. Yeah. Yes. I have to say, yes, I agree with this. Try not to do technical work. Try not to tell actors how to act. Try not to tell directors how to direct. Try not to tell readers how to feel. If you do this right, they feel it without you telling them how to feel. It's not always. Sometimes you do it. Sometimes you give them a good shot of like, this is scary. But much of the time, you are trying to imply the feeling, to draw them into the feeling so that they feel it, but they aren't being told what to feel. That is, to me, the best screenwriting. All right, so here's the thing. First of all, let's take a look at the outline because we have accomplished something. I'm going to just put this in the script just in case I didn't make it clear to myself. Once again, I'm putting it in bold and italics because it's a note to myself. Okay. So now here's the thing that was on my mind. Boop. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, she rants at George. That's what we are. Okay. Screw you, George. Screw you, George. What was I saying there? I said I had something in the outline I typed in. Okay, not staying. Not cleaning What were you thinking? Calling out a serial killer. You just sticking it to your man, making a statement. That life. Okay. All right. So, so this is an opportunity for her to talk about her feelings about her life. was all gestures, George. Didn't you get tired? What this was? Okay, so this is just, once again, I am just roughing in some ideas, some thought. Yes, we are going to be doing a style of kind of that. Although she's not smoking, he offered edibles. So yes, I was actually thinking that same thing, but the first part of the montage is this outburst. Anyway. Okay. Yeah, no. It's true. The thing I have to watch out for is we have an awful lot of sequences in this section of the script. If you go back, remember there was a sort of little mini montage of her looking through the house. I don't want to only do mini montages. Because you want to have some scenes that are in the moment and not pulled back and judging. Too many of the same structure of scene can get really, really annoying. But here's the thing that we're going to do that you forgot about, which is there's something else going on here, which is Dundosky. And he's a what you might call an ominous threat, an imminent threat. So what I'm going to do here is exterior, George's house. Oh, all right. Dundosky parked down the block watching George's house. The windows are lit up. Okay, that's fair. I will consider that. That is absolutely a legitimate. I'm going to make a note. The truth is, she might not be just. She may be. He mentioned some other pills. Okay. All right. So the point here. Oh, sorry. Let me get this. There we go. Okay. Oh, there. That's it. So Dundosky's down the block. Now, I also had an idea. No, not at all. I am not paying any attention to the timing yet. In fact, I know that it is way off because, the final draft does have this thing up here, which tells you it's sort of like the different scenes and how long they are. So you can sort of see a visual of, okay, this scene is really long, this scene is really short, etc., etc. And it tells me that I'm 40 minutes in. Now, I am not supposed to be 40 minutes into my script here. I have got a lot of script yet to go. This is going to be way too long because I have been just throwing down every possible line and brainstorm. Later, I will condense, as you saw I just did, and start to really shape it. This is the roughest of rough drafts. And also, I'm going to put a scene that has to go actually earlier. Okay. Notice. Oh, yeah. I've never seen that or noticed rather. Yes. Yeah. It's there. I got to say, Final Draft is increasingly cool. They have done a lot to make the technology of screenwriting all into their software, and it's very fine if you can afford it. If you can't, don't worry about it. Dondosky. What was the... Okay. All right. I am now going to put down... Okay, boop. These are obviously different approaches. What he's really doing is... Okay, this is much more on the nose. I will not actually use this line, but I'm just telling myself, basically. Okay. I haven't yet figured out the point about this is wondering if I could just walk around for anyway. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, cool. I am glad to see recommendations. I don't know. I have not shopped around for Final Draft, so I don't know. Or for screenwriting. Is he going to... Yeah, Carl. Carl. We've established Carl in another earlier scene. Okay. Yes, exactly. When it really comes down to it. Okay, so what I'm going to do actually is take this whole little scenelet. I'm going to move this. I cut it, and I'm pasting it and putting it back here in the early parts of this scene. Okay. Okay. There we go. So now the point is that we establish the menace of Dundowski. One of the things that that does is it lets us, Madeline can now be sort of off in her own personal journey, and we know there's a threat. That allows, it was here in the outline, it was sort of spaced out, but the truth is, I had said here, intercut. Because I knew that if you have Madeline going through this personal stuff and not being attuned to the threat of Dundowski, but we know that Dundowski is planning to break in, that's cool. That's a cool little element. And I got it done. Okay, so now the thing I also figured out here is that the fight scene, now that she's stoned, she's going to have the music on really, really loud. So loud that he can break in and she doesn't even know it. She's off in memory lane, and so the fight is going to happen and she's not even going to know it's happening for a while. So that's how I have conceived of this scene, and we will get to that next time because we've been going for a while, and I think it's time to stop. It is great to see you. Just a reminder for those of you who are watching live right now, this will not matter at all to you, those of you who are watching this months from now recorded, but this week I am only going to be live today and tomorrow, and next week I am only going to be live Wednesday and Thursday. I have booked myself a bunch of things I got to do, so I am going to not be here for those things. For those days, but I will actually may try and work on this a little by myself, and then so we can get this moving a little faster. Okay, yes, absolutely, Ramones. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Ramones. Actually, maybe a little grungier because they're probably in the late '80s, early '90s was their moment. So Ramones at that point were kind of an old band. Anyway, cool. Thank you. Have yourselves a lovely evening, and I will be here tomorrow.